I take it the reason you clicked the title is you're wondering how to make a little extra cha-chang cha-chang. What's going on, folks? Welcome to the channel. My name is John, and if you're like me, you're not quite ready to take your feet out onto the interwebs, well, you're in luck, because I've got 3 side hustles here that actually require you to keep your shoes on. Now, all 3 of these side hustles can make you anywhere from a couple $100s to a couple $1,000s a month. Before we get going, if you wouldn't mind, just give that little thumb icon, give it a little tap. Just give it a little bit of tap. Side hustle number 1, participating in clinical trials. As the name would suggest, you will be a research participant in a clinical trial. A clinical trial is basically a research experiment run by a PhD, scientist, doctor, whether through hospitals or through universities. These are very, very low barriers of entry, and they can be anything such as taking a phone screening, or playing a computer simulation, or spending a couple of overnights at a hospital. How much you get paid is gonna vary depending on how much time you have to commit. You can get paid anywhere from $50 all the way up to $8,000 to participate in a clinical trial. For me personally, I've done trials where quite literally all I did, I went in, they dunked my hand in ice water for like 30 seconds. Now, I don't remember the exact specifics of what exactly they were trying to do. All I knew was I had to dunk my hand in cold water and play this computer game. It was actually pretty funny. They also strapped like this cap onto my head and they had a bunch of little electrodes in there, and they were measuring my brainwaves as I was playing the video games. I did about 4 sessions, and each session was maybe about 30 minutes long, and at the end of it, they gave me $500, sent me on my way. I've also done ones as simple as just doing a phone screening. I mean, you quite literally call up, you do a phone screening, and if they don't determine that you're a fit for the trial, they'll still give you a $10 or $15 gift card. Obviously, you do want to go ahead and try to complete the trial because that's where you get the big bucks. And when we're talking big bucks, yes, the more invasive and the more time required for these trials, the more they're going to pay. So what are the requirements to participate in a clinical trial? Well, actually, the requirements are really low. Basically, anybody can. There are clinical trials that require a wide range of participants, whether it be people that have asthma or diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol or anxiety, or people that don't have asthma, don't have high blood pressure, don't have high cholesterol, don't have diabetes. It is such a wide gamut. Young, old, people with disease states, without the disease state, male, female, it doesn't really matter because there are always going to be need for research participants. Now let's discuss what the exact steps are to signing up for a clinical trial. I personally recommend taking a look at clinicaltrials.gov. That would give you a really good idea of what are the trials out there. Now, going on clinicaltrials.gov, I will call out, I don't love their user interface, partly because some of the words they use are pretty technical. And the other thing is that they don't tell you how much they're gonna pay you. So you actually have to reach out to the lead investigator and ask them how much compensation is. My pro tip would actually be to go to your local hospital website and just search that plus clinical trial. For me, I looked at Brigham and Women's as well as Mass General. Both of these have much better user interfaces for what exactly they're recruiting for and how much you're gonna get paid, which if you're here for a side hustle, that's the most important. And looking on their website, you can get paid in participating in study trials. For example, one trial that was studying CBD use in patients with anxiety. There's another trial I see on there that's actually just studying long-term effects of using marijuana. And there's a plethora of others on that website. Right there, it'll tell you exactly how much you should be expected to be paid over the course of the trial. And typically with trials that last more than 1 day, they'll pay you for the screening, they'll pay you for participating, and then they'll pay you for a follow-up. Now, in terms of getting the higher amounts of money, you will have to participate and give more time. So this trial right here looks like it's paying out $8,000, but it requires a lot more time commitment in a much larger screening process. But again, it's $8,000. The general rule of thumb with clinical trials is the more that time that you commit, the longer that you spend, and if you have to ingest anything, the higher it's gonna pay. So it's up to you. How much money do you wanna make? And if you're anything like me, I would say the most without knowing that there's any potential bodily harm. So that was kind of my limit. Side hustle number 2, mystery shopping. Mystery shopping is basically where you walk into a store and you pretend like you're a shopper. And then at the end of it, you write a bit of a review of your experience and you submit it to whatever mystery shopping agency you're working with, and then you get paid. That's it, simple as that. Similar to the clinical trials, it's a very low barrier to entry. When it comes to mystery shopping, typically the payout that I see is anywhere from 20, well north of $80 an hour. Now, when I participated in mystery shops, it wasn't just so much, you walk into a store and you just go ahead and write a review. I actually did some ones that were pretty fun. So one of my favorites was Five Guys, and I would go in, stand in line, I would order, and usually you're given a list of questionnaires and things to observe for when you are shopping. So in my Five Guys example, I would go through the entire order process. I get a burger, I get fries, I get a drink, and I would observe them and see how exactly they're cooking the burger. And I think they had to like smash the patties down and smush them. I had to see if they offered to add a drink if I didn't say I wanted a drink. And I would go ahead into the bathroom and see whether or not the bathroom was clean. And once I got my order, I would observe whether or not, are the fries crispy on the outside but soft and mushy on the inside? Is the burger juicy but yet crisp? Which I don't really get how that would be the case, but that's how I had to evaluate it. All in all, it was one of the most fun I had doing mystery shopping. And I did probably 3 a week for 3 to 4 months. So I had a lot of Five Guys. For my Five Guys shops, I got paid anywhere from $7 to $9 to actually do the review, but they would also go ahead and pay for the whole meal, which was $8 or $9. So all in all, it was maybe $20 I netted, but the best part, it didn't really take longer than 15 minutes to go in, order my burger, make my observations, and get out. So at an hourly rate, that's anywhere from $30 to $40. And if you can do a couple back to back and stack them, then you're really making out ahead. When I say stack them, I would always do it if I was out doing a couple mystery shops. The other one that I really liked was pretending to buy a car. I know, this one was kind of weird, but you basically walk into a dealership and pretend that you were interested to buy a car. And you would go through the entire process of shopping like you would buy a car. You talk to the salesperson, you go for a test drive, and you'd actually even go to the offer table and let them make an offer. Again, this might not be for everyone, but for me, I had a ton of fun with it. The pay was really good. The pay on any sort of driving was anywhere from, I think, $35 up to $48. And in a shop like this, you could be in and out within 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So if we think about it from an hourly perspective, I mean, that's easily $80 to $90 an hour that you're making. And it's the same as the Five Guys where afterwards you're filling out a survey, things like, did they show you certain features and benefits? Did they try to close you? Did they bring in a manager? Just things like that, tick, tick, tick. And that was it. It really wasn't all crazy detailed. So those are my 2 favorite shopping experiences when I was doing mystery shopping. In terms of how I recommend people get started, I use 2 companies. I use IntelliShop and Bestmark. So you sign up for a profile, you obviously upload all of your identification and verification, and from there on out, there's a job board and they'll post all of the jobs in the area. And not all shops require you to go in person. Now, going in person, you are obviously gonna get paid more, but there are certain shops where you just have to call into a location and observe exactly what that interaction was like, write a report, and send it in. Just know that there are shops that you could quite literally sit at home, make a couple phone calls, and make easily $10 a pop on a call. And when it comes to requirements, very minimal. Quite literally, I think anybody can get into mystery shopping. It's one of the lower barriers of entry when it comes to side hustles, and it's guaranteed revenue. You just go on, find the job board, and there's almost always listings out there, and go ahead and complete the job. Last, but certainly not least, the third side hustle we're gonna talk about is real estate. Now, compared to the first 2 I talk about, real estate is gonna be probably your best bet to set up a side hustle that can generate you passive income. What is passive income? Passive income is basically money that's coming in the door when you aren't actively going out and searching it. And when I'm talking about real estate investing, I'm specifically talking about buy and hold. Now, there are so many areas of real estate you can go into. We're gonna focus specifically on buy and hold because that's what I do. Right now, I am in a duplex, meaning I live in 1 unit of a 2-unit building that I own. When I move out of this unit, I'm expecting a cash flow of about $800 in the door in my pocket per month. In addition, if you're talking about financial benefits, I get to do this thing really cool. It's called depreciation. What does it mean? It basically means every year, this building loses value in the views of the IRS. Now, for you and me, all that means is I get to take about $15,000 and deduct that from my taxable income. I get to just write that off. How incredible is that? I do nothing, but I get a $15,000 deduction. If you wanna know how the rich get rich or stay rich, that's exactly how. Another thing that I would like to add to that is net worth. In about a year, I've probably added anywhere from $130,000 to $150,000 purely on this property appreciating in this market. Yeah, I did some things. I did a tile backsplash, I put a new roof in, but the rest is quite literally the market is just up. So I sit here and my net worth goes up. With the first two, that's not gonna happen. With real estate, it all is but certain to happen. Of course, with real estate though, it is a little bit higher of a barrier to entry. It takes a bit more of a learning curve to get a handle on, but once you're here, let the good times roll. And when it comes to real estate, if you have an investment horizon, or if you have a time frame of anywhere from 10 to 15 years of where you're looking to invest and you wanna set yourself up for your future, there's no better vehicle than real estate. If you could just buy a handful of properties, say 2 or 3, easily you're adding anywhere from $1 million to $2 million to your net worth. You're not doing it next year, you're doing it the year after, but in a 10 to 15 year time horizon where you're accumulating 1 or 2 properties, then yeah, I would say that's absolutely doable, especially if you're in a coastal city. And with that being said, coastal city. I feel like a lot of investors out there always hear about people going in and buying a home for $20,000 or $30,000, and you're likely thinking, I'm in a coastal city, how can I do it? Well, I'm here to say this, you can do it because that's exactly the situation I was in. I bought this multifamily unit in the greater Boston area, and I'll tell you, it's not a cheap market to get into, but there are some amazing loan products, namely the FHA loan product with 3.5% down that you can use to buy a multifamily property, which is an incredible return on your cash deployment. The biggest challenge most people face when it comes to real estate is getting started. If you're already on this video and you're thinking of side hustles, the clinical trials and the mystery shopping are gonna be amazing ways to add capital, in my opinion, to then direct into real estate. That's the assumption I'm making. If you're here, you're ready to hustle, you're ready to get after it, real estate's absolutely something you need to consider and look at. With that being said, thank you for watching. It has been a great video. Let me know in the comment section below. What are you looking to get started into? And if I can help in any way, especially when it comes to real estate or any of those other 2 methods, I am more than happy to do so. Again, my name is John. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Peace.